Hi, once again, I'm back, Angela and Simbi, mental health moments. And this time, the topic I'm going to talk about is growth, because one of the challenges most people face, especially when you've just come out of a crisis, as in mental health crisis, you've just been discharged from hospital. One of the things you ask, what next? I remember I wondered how I would put my life back, like to have some order again, to be able to go through the routine of work again, to be able to even have focus and even purpose. And most times when somebody has had a struggle, sadly, some caregivers think if they keep you in the house, that's the best way you're going to thrive, but it doesn't make you thrive, because as human beings we all long for human contact, and we also long to grow. It is part of being human. We love to grow. So one of the things I'm going to read today, the verse which I'm reading, it is Proverbs 27 verse 17, and it says, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. So one of the ways of enjoying better mental health is identifying that one person or two, depends on what your needs are, where they will mentor you. Maybe it is in area of business, or it's in your job, your career, or it is how you manage your finances. You will just have to choose and identify those areas. I want to use an acronym which I'm going to call MES, MES, and it is important that God, or to identify the fact that God is going to use people in your life to sharpen you, because as human beings we need people. There's no doubt about it. We need people to help us thrive. We need people to help us grow. But the important thing is identifying those people. So of course, before you even identify the people, it's very important to first evaluate yourself, because here we're in the month of July. Of course, we've started the second half of 2024. So I'm sure, when the year when the year is beginning, all of us have uh, we have what will I call it? Our goals, which you have written down, where we want to see ourselves by end of 2024. So we have to be intentional when we are evaluating ourselves, and of course also to be kind. And especially if you are also struggling with your mental health, or you have mental health challenges, be kind to yourself as you are assessing yourself. Sometimes your progress might be, wow, getting up early that day, you had a proper bath, you did your grooming, you are clean, you are hygienic, you've kept your space at home clean. That is progress. Because maybe at the point when you had the crisis, you just could not put things which seem so simple together. You just couldn't. So it's important to celebrate even those what looks like small things, because the fact that you can keep yourself clean, the fact that you can keep your space clean, it's very important. And of course, another thing, if you are already in a job, because some people, you might have the crisis but you have a job, so you also need to assess, how are you faring at the workplace? What extra help would you need? Knowing where you stand is very important, because when you know where you're coming from, you'll be able to identify, where do I want to go? Yeah, and I will quote again, because whenever I'm talking about the mental health moments, I prefer to also use the word of God, the Bible, because the Bible helps us understand things even in a much easier way. And I'll quote, I'd written it here, Proverbs 29, verse 18, the King James Version. It says, where there is no vision, the people perish. But he that keepeth the law, happy is he. When you have a vision, when you know where you are coming from, because that is part of evaluating. You cannot evaluate yourself when you even don't know where you're going. So when you evaluate yourself and say, wow, just 3 weeks ago, I couldn't even bathe myself. That's progress. Now, 3 weeks later, you can bathe yourself. Tick. Big progress. There are things like that to other people who have even never had a mental health challenge. They might even wonder who evaluates themselves because they had a bath. But for somebody who has had a struggle, like I will relate to one of the situations I had, that was my worst relapse. I was unconscious. I couldn't bathe myself. So I had to be sponge bathed. I could not bathe myself. But on my recovery, at least by the time I went back, even shortly before I went back home, I was able to bathe myself. So if I was to assess myself progress, considering from the point of crisis up to towards the being discharged, I could say, wow, I can now have a bath. I can bathe myself. So evaluate yourself. Where do you want to go? And where are you at? And when you look at your strengths, be honest with yourself. You know where you're strong and where you are weak. Be honest with yourself. The truth is we can never hide. We can never hide from ourselves the truth. Where you're weak, acknowledge. If it is with money, because there are some people also when they are having maybe manic episodes. I'm talking now about people, maybe especially those who have been diagnosed with bipolar. Some of them struggle a lot with how they spend. And a number of people, actually, some of them, how they know that they are tipping, they become very extravagant. So you need to also understand, am I good with money or am I not good with money? Do I know how to invest it? Do I save? All those things. And if you don't know, it is not bad. Look out for who can support you. Read up on information that can help you improve, because one of the things also that affects our mental health is being broke. Hey, I've said it. Yeah, being broke. And I'm telling you, there are people, simple steps, people I have mentored through the heart-to-heart mental health, the heart-to-heart chat mental health program. People I have mentored, I just ask, before we do anything else, I can ask, what skill do you have? And somebody will tell me, okay, I can bake. Another one will tell me, I can make jewelry. I'm a good marketeer. Stuff like that. Someone else will tell me, I'm good with writing. So whatever that person says they are good at, I try to see how do I help that person to harness that which they have, so that at least they start earning money. And I'm getting good feedback. One of the people I have mentored, she is a lawyer. She does her baking. She hasn't yet got a job as a lawyer. In the meantime, as she's looking around for jobs, she's baking. So she's earning money. She's not totally out. And then another lady who I'm also mentoring, she's good with writing. And before her books, she was just giving them out free. Today, as I speak, she's actually selling her books. She's more organized. She's getting more of her books printed and she's getting money. And as she's getting money, she's also making her social media presence more influential, more impactful, and she's attracting the right people to support her in that space. So what am I saying when I say what I'm saying right now? I'm saying that, ask yourself, because I've talked about the mentorship, because iron sharpens iron. And when I talk about the evaluation, I also remind us that we need to have a vision so that we know where we want to go, but also understand, where am I at today? Where am I at? So that weaknesses are assessed and strengths. Yeah, well, we've done well. Let's pat ourselves on the back. And okay, so the other part, the S is for skilling. We need to get skills. One thing that I have seen, regardless of your age, regardless of your age, regardless of where you are at today, you need to understand how to harness social media, for example. How do you use social media? And it doesn't mean that get addicted to social media, because already there are a number of young people who are getting affected with the addiction to social media. Some of them, it's even affecting their mental health to a place that, keeping comparing themselves to those who seem to be happening. But one thing we also need to understand about social media, you choose what you want to post on your social media accounts, which means that you will not put all your life there. You will also choose the things you think are putting you in a good light, stuff like that. You choose. So remember, even those people you're admiring, you're comparing yourself to, remember that they also choose what they put out there. That was just a disclaimer to show you, okay, I was just saying it out there to show you that don't get into the trap of comparing yourself to other people. Appreciate yourself and where you're coming from. So back to the use of social media. Because recently, even President Ruto had to engage the Generation Z on social media. So you have to ask yourself, how am I using social media to get ahead? To get ahead in a good way. To get ahead, not because you want to show your nakedness. To get ahead, not because you want to insult other people and do cyberbullying. No. How are you using it to enhance your skills? How are you using it to improve your social media presence? How are you using it to bring impact and transform lives? So you need to understand which mode should I use. Understand these things. And as you're understanding, that means you will need skilling. Because there are some things you can actually do without hiring somebody. And things like even designing flyers. You might not do everything, but at least learn something. You could learn how to do videos, short videos. There is a room for TikTok where you can do short and snappy videos. There are also shorts on YouTube. So you learn, what can I do? How do I do it best? I've given social media as an example, but skilling is broad, because for you to remain relevant today, you can't afford to rely on only the qualifications you got many years back. You need to ask yourself, how do I keep relevant to the young people? Because even as you present yourself to mentor others, you need to be relevant. They have to ask themselves, what am I going to learn from you? So be relevant, be ready to learn, be ready, have a teachable spirit. I always tell that to people. Have a teachable spirit. The only way we learn is when we have a teachable spirit. And also to understand that we don't know it all. Every day is a learning experience. Every day is a learning experience. So as you're taking time, maybe you could say, I have friends in this space, the mental health space. They have, for a while, they have impacted using their mental health stories and all. Then they sit back and ask, some of them, how do I scale? And let me tell you, you don't always need money. Because many times people say, but now I don't have an income, I don't have this, how do I do it? Look out for online courses, which are free. They are there. Some are mental health courses. Now for me in my line, it is mental health. That's where I want to thrive. Not that I don't want to thrive in other areas, but in terms of my expertise, I want to harness my mental health knowledge. So it is, you just look out for those courses online. What can you do? Start with those which are free. And then, of course, sometimes you can think, maybe now I can maybe do a postgraduate degree, or a diploma, not degree, postgraduate diploma, or a master's degree. You decide, what do I specialize in? Look at where you are at now. Where is your impact felt the most? You could even ask a friend where to support you, to help you make that decision. Because the truth is, we need to learn. You are not too old to learn. There's somebody who challenged me. She's one of the elders at the church I attend, in her 60s. Right now, as I speak, she got her doctorate, her PhD. But she enrolled when she's in her 60s. And I said, wow, this is a lady who challenges you. I mean, she's not stopping to dream. just because she's in her 60s. No way. So don't allow the age issue to be a hindrance. Don't say, oh, now you see, I got sick the other day and things haven't been so good like this and that. Please, that time, utilize it when you are at home resting, at home relaxing. Why not get a short course and engage online? Moreover, like I said, there are also those which are which are free. Please let us purpose to grow in this year, the second half of 2024. Let us be intentional. And I want to quote something, just a few outlines. I'm really just quoting the outlines, which I had written because I read Ron Jensen's book, Achieving Authentic Success. And he wrote, I know there are more than 7, but I'm going to mention 7. 7 which he wrote, because as you're evaluating yourself, it's also important to see which areas are you going to evaluate. Many of us, I shouldn't say many of us, okay, some of us struggle with maintaining healthy relationships because it has not been modeled to us while we were growing up. So be true to yourself and say, man, the truth is I have challenges maintaining good relationships. I have challenges keeping in touch with people regularly. Assess and see, how do I learn to do it better? You can challenge yourself and say, maybe every week I should send a message to people I engage with in my phone book. Then maybe you say, at least once a week, let me call somebody, so that we enjoy those bonds, those social bonds, and we start to grow close social bonds, healthy bonds. Now, I've talked about relationships, but those friendships can be our social networks. It could be family, it could be our friends, it could even be acquaintances. But how do we grow those relationships? We need people. So we also need to harness those relationships. And then, of course, I talked about the finances. Ron Jensen in his book talks about finances as well. And then he talks about having fun. Whoosh! When was the last time you had fun? And I mean fun, clean fun. When was the last time you had fun? You need to also make time for those moments when you relax and actually have fun. We need fun in life. I mean, that's why we are human. We need fun. And God has also blessed us that when we work, have time to enjoy your meals, have time for your laughter moments with your friends, have those moments. Also time for you, that self-care time. Okay, so also your faith. Like I said, I always tell people, they know that anyway. I keep telling people I'm a woman of faith. So the word of God is deep, deep. And it has helped me a lot actually enjoy better mental health. So how are you faring with your faith? Are you also taking time to nurture your faith, or are you only a Sunday Christian? Because there are some people who have resolved to be Sunday Christians. But if you want to grow in the faith, you have also to at least it should be once a week of fellowship with brethren. Because when you hear people's testimonies, when you're praying with other people, it strengthens you to face another day, to go through that challenge, to be able to stand and overcome. And then also another thing, it's farm. When I say farm, it is FIRM. Farm is really like your business. I've given those F's, and then also that part of fitness. Hey, I think we are struggling in that area, especially when it gets to that point where when you have had babies and you're in a certain age bracket in your 40s, you need to really be intentional about your exercise. I'm not saying that when you're in your 30s and 20s, don't bother. No, it's important that you engage in an exercise. And sometimes it might mean maybe also trying a new exercise. Personally, I love walking, But yeah, I've also realized I haven't been walking as often as I should, and I want to improve in that area. So as you say, I'm going to walk, and I say, I'm going to walk 3 times. Let me increase it to 3 times. And then I say, wow, why don't I try out a new sport? Maybe I could do swimming. It's never too late to learn. I already told my children, I'm going to buy my swimsuit and splash in that water and learn afresh, because I got an opportunity to learn as a child, but I never got the grip of it. So it is okay. You can learn even in your whatever age you're at. Like now, me, I'm 50. Yeah, but we can still learn. Who says we can't learn? So engage in a sport, exercise, because the truth is exercise is good for us, for our mental health, and exercise helps release those feel good hormones, and those feel good hormones are called endorphins. So when they are released, makes us feel better about our mental health. So as you contemplate and also reflect on your growth journey, like I said, baby steps are good. Don't compare yourself to other people. Your journey is different. Where you want to learn from somebody, don't fear to learn. Go ahead and learn. But what you have to understand, because we are all coming from different spaces, and like I said, be kind to yourself. If you have probably just come from admission, you've been an inpatient, now you have been discharged. Be kind to yourself. You can't now compare yourself to somebody probably who hasn't had a relapse in 10 years or 5 years. You need to be kind to yourself and accept that now even cleaning my space is progress. Even making my bed is progress. Like I said, I want us to remember mess, mentorship, evaluation, skilling. Your mental health matters. Make it a priority. Ciao, till next time.